Myself, Hariva Prasad Damarla, a retired Deputy General Manager from Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited and ex-adjunct professor, ECE Department, PSCMR College of Engineering and Technology, Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh. In our other day lecture, in our earlier lecture, we were discussing about the concept of handover or handoff. The handover or the handoff is a process wherein when the user is moving from one cell site area to other cell site coverage area, when the call is in progress, the call is to be handed over from the old base station to the new base station, or within the same base station also. When the user is moving from one sector to the second sector, the call is to be ceremoniously handed over to the second sector without any discontinuity in the communication or in his speech. Now we will see the types of handover by handoffs. First type is known as hard handover or hard handoff. The second type is soft handover or soft handoff. Then the third one is softer handover or softer handoff. These are the three types. We will discuss the details one after the other. Although all these forms of handover or handoff enable the cellular phone to be connected to a different cell or a different cell sector, they are performed in slightly different ways and are used under different conditions. As I already told you, the handover may be between two cells, cell sites, or two base stations, or it may be within the same cell between two sectors. So these three types of handovers can happen in different ways, slightly different ways under different conditions. So we will look into these handovers one after the other. Let us start with the hard handover. Hard handover or handoff is a method wherein an existing connection must be broken before the new one is established. You have to break the connection with the old sector or the old base station, and you should be immediately latched to the other sector or other base station without any perceivable notice. As far as the user is concerned, there is a technical break in his communication. One example of hard handover is where frequencies are changed. As the mobile is normally be able to transmit on one frequency at a time, the connection must be broken before it can move to the new channel frequency, where the connection is re-established. That is, break before make. So suppose the user is moving from one base station to other base station. So the frequencies, as we have already seen in the GSM, the frequencies used by the base station of one base station is different from the other base station. That means, suppose if the user is speaking on frequency F1 and he is moving to the second base station where the frequency of the channel is F2, then the user first he should be disconnected from F1 and he should be latched to F2, which should happen within no time in terms of microseconds, so that the user may not feel that there is a break in his communication. So here this is simply known as the concept, a technique of break before make. First break with your connection with F1 and then immediately within no time make a connection with F2. In hard handover process, although there is generally a short break in transmission, this is normally very short, not to be noticed by the user. As earlier I have told, so there is, technically speaking, there is a minute period of break and then immediately it will be latched to other frequency or other base station or other sector. It is so short the user cannot notice the break. This is about hard handover. Then we have another handover type which is known as soft handover. 3G technologies use CDMA, of course, rather to say it is called wideband CDMA, WCDMA, where it is possible to have neighboring cells on the same frequency. This opens up the possibility of a form of handover or handoff, where it is not necessary to break the connection before the user is connected to the other base station. Let us take this base station. What is the frequency? Here in this 7-cell pattern, all the frequencies used are same. Generally, 3G uses a frequency with a bandwidth of 5 megahertz. As far as 2G is concerned, the frequency bandwidth is only 200 kilohertz, or rather to say 0.2 megahertz. So here, either sector-wise or base station-wise, in most of the cases, the frequencies used in all the base stations of a cluster is the same, F1, everywhere you see F1 only. So suppose the user is moving from this base station, so the frequency is F1, is moving towards this second base station. Here also the frequency is same F1. From here, let us assume is moving to this base station, the third base station. Here also the frequency is same. So this gives rise to a possibility that the connection need not be broken before the reconnection is established with the other cell site, because the frequency is same. So this is what it is explained here. This type of handover is called soft handover or soft handoff, as it is defined as a handover where a new connection is established before the old one is released. Here the concept is make before break. When he is moving from here to here, somewhere at this transition point at the boundary, so the connection will be continued with F1 and it will be established with this F1, the second BTS or base station frequency, which is also F1. So here in this point, in the boundary of base station 1 and 2, so the mobile is connected to both the base stations which are working on the same frequency. When he slightly moves towards this direction, the first connection is disconnected. The first connection is broken and this is continued. The second connection is continued. That's why it is known as first you will make connection with the second base station at the boundary. Then once you slightly move into the second base station, the connection, old connection with this base station, first base station will be broken. That's why it is known as make before break. Now we will see the third one, softer handover. In some people they say simply hard handover and soft handover. So it is slightly a different scenario. Sometimes it can be considered as simply soft handover itself. But however, I have classified as the separate handover, which is known as softer handover or softer handoff. The third type of handover is termed as softer handover or softer handoff. It may occur when a signal is replaced by a stronger signal from a different sector under the same base station. So here the scenario is like this. When the user, let us assume the user is within the same base station, is moving from sector 1 to say sector 2 or sector 2 to sector 3, but within the same base station. So it so happens when the user is moving from sector 1 to sector 2 direction, so at one point of time the signal strength of sector 2 is more than the sector 1. So that is the stronger signal. Then the user is connected to second sector. So this type of handover is known as softer handover. That means here the handover is happening based on the signal strength from one sector to other sector within the same base station. So the handover is happening within the same base station, but it is replaced by the stronger signal. In 3G, all the sectors and all the base stations, they will have the same frequency. There is no change of frequency between sector 1 and sector 2 in as far as 3G is concerned, unlike 2G. So therefore this softer handover is happening in 3G network. This type of handover or handoff is available within the UMTS as well as CDMA 2000. These are the note UMTS or CDMA 2000 or 3G mobile technologies. They are two variants of third generation mobile technologies. Anyhow, we will discuss something about 3G mobile when you discuss on 3G mobile communication. Here UMTS stands for Universal Mobile Telecommunication System. This CDMA, anyhow, you know, code division multiple access. We will discuss about CDMA technology. This CDMA version 2000, year 2000. So here this softer handover takes place. Now here some pictorial representation of soft handoff and hard handoff is compared. Now let us see the soft handoff. In the soft handoff, the concept is first make a connection before you break the connection with the old setup. Here also hard handoff also they are represented. So here this is, let us assume this is cell 1, this is cell 2. The user in the car is moving from cell 1 to cell 2 direction. So what happens at the boundary of these two cells? So a fraction of second, this connection at this point is broken. When slightly it moves towards this, the connection is re-established with the second base station. That means first you are breaking the connection with this base station and you are making the connection with this base station. That's why it is known as hard handoff. So similar example here also you can see base station. The user is moving in a car. This is the second base station. Okay, here he is getting signal from here. He is also getting signal from here. When he slightly moves and somewhere at this point, so this connection with the old base station, this is a base station BS1, is broken and immediately it is latched to this base station, that is base station 2. This is called break before make, break and make. So this is hard handoff. Here itself they have given both the comparisons of hard bar soft handoff. In soft handoff, as you can clearly see, this is the base station 1, this is the second base station 2. So as in this case, the user is moving, let us assume it is a 3G network. So where the frequency, radio frequency is same. Here is also F1, this is also F1, or it is F, this is also F. When it reaches the boundary of these two cells, so connections, this connection is already available. So with this base station also, this radio connection is established. As slowly he moves slightly towards like this old connection is broken. That means first you are making connection with the second base station before it is disconnected. So here you are making the connection with the second base station and you are breaking the connection with the old base station. That is make before break. This is soft handover. Then there is another concept in GSM that is trunking and grade of service. We will systematically proceed with this concept. Main problems in providing mobile services are, there are two main problems as far as mobile communication is concerned. Mobile communication, as the name itself suggests, the user is on move, unlike in your landline communication where the user is fixed to a specific location. So here the issue is limited radio spectrum, that is limited number of radio channels. So you don't have infinite radio spectrum for using mobile services. This we have discussed in our introduction class also, or even about this frequency we use also. You have limited spectrum wherein you have to launch or provide your mobile services. That is one main restriction as far as the mobile communication is concerned. And here the users are too many. So each user wise we don't have separate radio spectrum. That also we have studied when we discussed about the frequency reuse. So for each user you cannot allot a pair of radio frequencies. So they have to share based on the multiple access technologies. Then the principle of service, how the service under these two constraints, how the mobile service is provided. So it is like this. serve a user only on demand, allocation and deallocation of voice channels on need basis. Because the channels are limited, you give the radio channel or allot the radio channel to the user whenever he intends to make a call. Otherwise, you keep it as a pool of frequencies with the service provider. So they are not given individually to each and every user. Whenever the user intends to make a call or use it, at that time only a radio frequency channel or voice channel for easy understanding, because we are talking about GSM 2G. So we will mostly confine to voice channels on need basis. Whenever he wants, at that time only you will give one channel for him. Performance analysis based on the trunking theory. We will try to understand about trunking theory subsequently. Performance analysis is based on the trunking theory. So the network performance is based on trunking theory. What is the trunking theory and all? We will see in the subsequent slides. Then grade of service. Grade of service is based on the principle of trunking. So this grade of service is dependent on trunking policy or theory. Here, one note is there. Grade of service is the measure of the user's ability to access a trunked system during busiest hours. In busy hours, all users may not get access to network. So the grade of service indicates the user's ability to access the network in a trunked system. Trunked systems, it is a system where each and every user is not having trunk lines or RF carriers. So a fixed number of RF carriers are available. It is to be shared among all the users depending upon the need or the necessity. So in busy hours, there is a possibility of some calls may fail. So this is the measure. Grade of service indicates the user's ability to access the trunked system during busy hours. Further, we will discuss about these two techniques or principles. Further, we will study about trunking and grade of service together. Purpose of trunking. What is the purpose of trunking? To determine the required capacity and allocate the proper number of channels in order to meet the grade of service, where the grade of service is determined by likelihood that a call is blocked, likelihood of a call is experiencing a delay greater than a certain queuing time. So let us try to understand about this grade of service. To determine the required capacity, how many channels, how many frequencies I have to allocate to a base station is depending upon what is the grade of service I am intending to provide to the user. Grade of service, no doubt. So it leads to blocked calls, or it may lead to a delay in getting the access to network. I will give one small example. Let us assume in very busy time, in a base station, I may require 12 trunks, 12 radio channels. In normal time, or in slack time, I don't require more than 6 radio carriers. So suppose if I provide only 6 carriers, so in the busy hour or slight busy hour, these 6 channels will not be sufficient. In busy hours, so many calls will fail. So what we do via media, we say, for example, I have provided 9 trunks to the base station. That means in slag hours, when the traffic is not that much, it is there, that is in the small hours from say midnight 12 o'clock to say morning 4 o'clock. So number of calls, let us assume, are very less. So since I have provided 9 against the required of 6 in the slack hours, so 3 trunks I will be wasting. But at the same time, in the busiest time, maybe let us assume in the evening after 7 o'clock, 7 to say 10 o'clock, that is the busiest time, or in the morning after 9:30 to 11, when all offices are open, that may be the busy time. At that time, perhaps I may require 12 trunks to tackle the traffic. So, but I have provided 9 only, because the other time I will be wasting the trunks and the radio resources are limited. So at that time, there is a likelihood a few calls may fail, because I have to uh, trade off between the quality of the service and properly using the limited resources. Then we will see the trunking theory. Cellular radio systems rely on trunking to accommodate a large number of users in a limited spectrum. So with limited spectrum, how I can provide service to large number of users is the concept of trunking theory. The concept of trunking allows a large number of users to share the relatively small number of channels in a cell by providing access to each user on demand from a pool of available channels. So a pool of channels will be available to each and every base station. Whenever a user intends to make a call, at that time only one radio channel will be allotted to that user. So once he stops speaking, once again it goes into the common pool. When the second person comes, okay, once again another carrier will be allotted to him. Like that, it is something like our DHCP, dynamic host configuration. If you can recollect your concepts on DHCP, dynamic host configuration, a pool of IP addresses will be available. So on need basis, whenever a user intends to access internet, one IP address will be given for him for his session. As long as he uses the internet, the IP address will be available. Once he disconnects from internet, the IP address will be taken back to the pool for allotting to someone else. This is the basic concept of trunking theory, where large number of users are served by limited number of radio channels. Further, we will look into trunking and grade of service. In a trunked radio system, each user is allocated a channel on per call basis, and upon termination of the call, the previously occupied channel is immediately returned to the pool of available channels. This is what I have explained earlier. Trunking exploits the statistical behavior of users so that a fixed number of channels or circuits may accommodate a large random user community. So for large number of users, so based on the behavior of user behavior, we provide less number of channels to accommodate large number of user community. And there is another word known as random. We do not know at what time more calls may be there in that base station. So it varies from time to time in a random manner. there is a trade-off between the number of available circuits and the likelihood of a particular user finding that no circuits are available during the peak calling time. In peak calling time, there is a very possibility that the user may not get access to make the call. As the number of phone lines decrease, it is more likely that all circuits will be busy for a particular user. In busy time, if you reduce the number of trunked channels, so there is a very possibility the user may face the problem of not getting the channel for him to access the network. So we have to optimally provide. Neither we should provide too many circuits and waste our bandwidth or RF spectrum, nor we should provide too many very less number of circuits so that the blocking will be more. That means the occasions wherein the user may not get the access to network. We have to trade off between the pros and cons of the providing very less number of circuits and more number of circuits. In a trunked mobile radio system, when a particular user requests service and all the radio channels are already in use, then his call is blocked or denied access to the system. In some systems, a queue is maintained to hold the requesting users until a channel becomes available. In the trunked mobile system, a particular user requests service and all the channels are already in use, then he may not get, his call may be blocked. Or there may be another aspect wherein some time is allowed for him. That means the user is in queue to get a channel is allotted to the user. So a queue is maintained. So as per the queue, for that also they maintain this some a fraction of time, after which his call will be totally blocked. Within that prescribed limit, if he is able to get a channel by virtue of someone vacating the radio channel, so he may get access to it. Cellular designer estimates the maximum required capacity and allocates the proper number of RF channels in order to meet the grade of service. In telecommunication engineering, the quality of service is specified by the grade of the service. The quality is specified by the grade of service. So here it is like this mathematically, grade of service is equal to number of blocked calls by number of calls offered. That means, so how many calls are, how many callers are attempting to make calls and how many calls are blocked. So here one example they are given for easy understanding. So there are 100 people who are either speaking or intending to make calls. 100 calls are offered to the network. Okay. So 2 people could not get access to network. That is, 2 calls are blocked. 2 people, they would not get the channel because of the paucity of the limited RF channels. Then the grade of service is equal to number of calls blocked, that is 2, by calls offered, that is 100, that is 0.02. This is called grade of service. Okay, it should be as low as possible. If the grade of service is 0.002 means two failing of 2 calls in 1,000 calls. That is more desirable. But at the same time, we have to provide more trunks or more channels. Now we will try to understand the trunking concept with an analogy. In conventional, that is in non-trunked radio, users share one or more exclusive radio channels and must wait their turn to use them. If trunking procedure is not adopted in conventional radio, users share one or more exclusive radio channels and wait for their turn to use them, just like in first generation network. So people, I have given one example, they used to wait even for 30 minutes for their turn to come to make a call when all the carriers are engaged or used by other users. So here it is, the analogy is given here. It is analogous to the operation of a group of cashiers in a supermarket, where each cashier serves his or her own line of customers. The cashier represents each radio channel and each customer represents a radio user transmitting on their radio. Trunked radio systems, that is TRS, pool of all cashiers, that is channels, into one group and use a store manager, that is site controller, who assigns the shoppers to the free cashier as determined by the store's policies, that is TRS protocols. Here I will try to explain this. So let us consider there is a supermarket or hypermarket. There are, say, half a dozen cashiers. So different users after their purchase, so they come to the billing counters, that is cashier. Perhaps when the purchase, when people are more, so they have to stand in queue. For each and every cashier, there is a separate queue. So what happens? So till the after completion of one after the other only, you can go for billing. So it may lead to some delay. But in that case, it may so happen if there are suppose 6 counters. In one of the counters, what happens? All his billing activity is over fast and his queue is free. So in non-trunked, so this problem is there. In trunked system, what happens? There will be one manager who will request some of the users to go to the cash counter, which is free. He will organize the customers to the free cashier or to the counter. So that is called the trunked radio systems. Trunked radio system, just like a store manager, there will be some management wherein whatever it is free, the channel is free, that is allocated to the user. And there is another concept in 2G mobile or GSM about why 800 MHz frequency range is more preferred in cellular communication. There is one point why generally 800 MHz is the preferred frequency band for cellular communication. It is more of academic nature than in practice. One good thing about this 800 MHz is very short signal wavelength, because the frequency is in megahertz, the wavelength is small. Tends to be line of sight similar to light. because the frequency is high, the transmission would be in the mode of line of sight. The signal transmission happens in LOS mode, line of sight mode. Signal is easily reflected off buildings, cars and trucks. So you can get signal reflected from buildings and cars, trucks, like that also. So sometimes these reflected signals, as we have seen in fading, it may be in phase with the original signal and it may aid the signal strength also. But the other negative aspect is signal is easily absorbed by foliage. Foliage means trees, forest, or even water tanks also. They absorb the signal. So your signal can travel for lesser distance, though there are some merits what we have seen so far. So this is one negative aspect. So overall, when you see about this 800 megahertz, we have more advantages and less disadvantages. So that's why it is more preferred. This aspect of 800 megahertz is both good and bad for cellular coverage area. It is good because it allows for efficient frequency reuse. So it is good because it facilitates frequency reuse. It is bad because it can cause problems when major coverage points of the cell, highways and towns are in heavily wooded areas. That means highways and all, when they are passing through the towns where more buildings are there, where the foliage will be there, trees will be there. When you are passing through, say for example, through forests and all, the signal absorption is more and the signal strength you can receive is less. That is the negative aspect. The above factors combined make the 800 megahertz spectrum ideal for cellular communication. By seeing the both pros and cons, so we consider the 800 megahertz is the better, ideally suited for cellular communication. The advantages are more when compared to the disadvantages. That's why it is preferred more. Then we will see the summary what we have discussed. We have discussed the handover types: hard handover, soft handover, and softer handover. Then we try to understand trunking and grid of service. Then we have also seen in the last why 800 megahertz band is preferred in cellular mobile communication. So with this, I thank you for this session.